Hey there, U-turns, Mr. Herman here, and this lesson is lesson 5, dot plots. This is from the data booklet that you guys have been given. Fortunately, I cannot be in class right now, so you'll use these 2 lessons to be working on dot plots. The learning goals for this lesson is to look into how to display numerical data through dot plots and also other various graphs, and the success criteria. So what you'll be able to demonstrate by the end of this lesson is you'll be able to extract information from those dot plots. And by extracting information, to be specific, you want to make some type of generalizations or statements from the information or data that has been given. So on your booklet, which looks like this, the booklet that you'll have, just after the different types of mean, median, mode and range questions, you'll have some different puzzles and things to work out. And after that will be dot plots, and this is the set work that you guys will be working on. So with dot plots, I'm going to run through this example. Dot plots are quite like bar charts. The only difference is instead of the bar going up to a certain number, which will be represented on the left-hand side of the actual chart itself, it's dictated numerically by dots, and all you have to simply do is just count how many dots are related to whatever the context is at the bottom. In this particular example, this dot plot shows the number of goals per game scored by a team during the soccer season. So the number of goals per game is on the bottom, and how many goals for each of those games were given from 0 to 7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through this example, and it's in your best interest to grab a pen or pencil, turn to this page, and also copy the exact same example here. So this will be used as practice, and then you go ahead and tackle the next set of questions. So the first question here, how many games were played? So how you find out how many games were played is, put simply, you're just figuring out how many dots there are, because each of these dots represents a game that has been played, regardless of how many goals per game, for this first question anyways, how many games there are. So we've got 2 for the first one, we've got 0 because there were no games where 1 goal was scored. We've got another 2 again, 3, 4, 5, and then 2. And when added all up, you'll end up getting 2 plus 2, 4, plus 2, 6, 9, 13, 18, 19, 20. So how many games were played? This result here is 20 games. You'll go ahead and write 20 games. Question B, what was the most common number of goals per game? So the most common being most being the key word. We're looking for the number of goals per game that has the highest amount. And there's only one of them, and this is the 6 goals per game. So there were 5 of them. So to say it in a more cohesive way, there were 5 separate games where the amount of goals scored were 6. That being the most. So what was the most common number of goals per game? 6. 6 was the most common number of goals, so 6 goals. For C, we are looking into how many goals were scored for the season. So this is just talking about the individual amount of scores all up. So in the first column, first set of dots, 0 goals were scored. So you don't really need to use this within your calculation, because if there were 2 games where no goals were scored, that's just 2 lots of 0, which is effectively 0. There weren't any within the 1. Here we have 2 games where 2 goals were scored. So for the 2, we have 4. So there's 4 goals. For the 3 goals, we had another 2. So this is 2 lots of 3 goals, which is 6. So there was 3 goals in one of the games and another 3 goals in the other game. So we're just getting 2 lots of that 3. For the 4th one, we have 3 games where they scored 4. So 3 times 4, which is equal to 12. For the 5 goals, there were 4 games where they scored 5 goals. So 4 lots of 5. Gives me 20. For 6 goals, we have 5 lots of 6, which is our most common one, so that's 30. And then for 7 games, we have 2 lots of 7, which gives me 14. So these are all the amount of goals for each of these set goals per game. What you want to do is you want to get, for the whole season, you want to tally this all up. So when add it all up, you should end up with 86 goals. All up. And D is a snapshot or a summary of all the information that we've just obtained from this dot plot. And D wants us to describe the data in this dot plot. So how we describe this, I'm actually going to write D at the bottom here so I have a bit of room. So with D, we're going to say that the most common number of goals, so most common number of goals per game and this one was the category for 6. So most common number of goals per game was 6. We're also going to talk about the number of games that were played. So number of games played. Whoops, go that number of games played. The number of games. No, games played. Was 20. And then the last thing we want to talk about, you can mention how many goals were scored as well. There were 86 goals scored, all up. But what's important, another feature that's deemed more important than this was the range of the amount of goals that were provided within the data. This range, so the range of goals scored, and this is 7. And this is based on getting your highest amount possible and getting your lowest amount possible and finding the difference between the two. That just means that there was a range of 7 goals. If there were no games that were scored that actually had 0 goals, you wouldn't necessarily include this in the range. It would be from the next one up. So it would be from 2 to 7, meaning the range would be 5. But because 0 is an option, because there were 2 games where 0 goals were scored, your range is the difference between 2, which is 7. That's it for the dot plots. You can just go ahead and try the questions out after the dot plots. You've got 2 periods to work on this. Best of luck, guys, and I'll see you next week within class on Monday.